Hi, this is Rich, and welcome to our morning show. We're going to read over some comments on our last video, and then we're going to talk about these deep outtake. Hi, wait, we can leave it around. Okay. You get the outtake. This is a special feature. You get the outtake. Hi, this is Rich, and welcome to the morning show. We're going to read over some comments from our last video about recurring UBIs. And then we're going to answer some questions. So a little Q&A. All right? All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
This one.
Okay. So Mr. Mojo Risen says, hey, what's the name of the video again that we're reading from?
Right now is Recurring UBIs.
Recurring UBIs, Rich2150x and I. Okay. Yeah. So Mr. Mojo Risen says, hey, just got over here from another video about some afterlife trickery or astral travel trickery. In relation to asking the higher self for guidance, is the higher self that much smarter or just one more level of awareness and with limited info? Let's stop right there. We got to talk about this because it's deep. Yeah. Jane Roberts is the channel for Seth, and Seth speaks. It's a book, fat book, and he talks about this subject a lot. And he even channeled a novel, a fictional story based on Seth's understanding of the Overself. The book is called Oversoul 7. Okay, and Oversoul 7 is an oversoul, but a young oversoul, and he has his mentor and teacher, and so you're reading about the oversoul in the higher afterlife place. But it's not really afterlife, it's above life, because Oversoul 7 can tap into his underselves, any number of underselves. So the story is kind of the Oversoul 7 drops into his, the lifetime in the 80s, or the 70s or 60s. Then he drops into a lifetime that happened like hundreds of years ago. And so he's got these different lifetimes. And he goes in and he becomes his underself. And he pops back out. And now we're reading the story. Oversoul 7 is now with his mentor in the between lives area, or the above time place, discussing matters back and forth. And so you get a really great perspective of what the Overself is. The problem with that fucking story is it doesn't fit with a lot of the other things I've experienced personally, and I've read from other people who have like Robert Monroe, for example.
Yeah.
Drops dead. Well, no, Robert Monroe didn't. He did now, but before he dropped dead, he was going over out of body a lot. And so he would meet some of his best buddies that he knew here in this life. And now they live on in the other realms. Charlie was the one I'm thinking of. And so he recognized Charlie. You kind of recognize the soul signature of the being. Charlie, oh, hi, Bob. I haven't gone by Charlie in a long time. So he's not Charlie anymore. But he's that guy. But it's not like he's an Overself person. It's not like in the soul, the Oversoul 7 story. It's more like he's just continuing his life. And so it's like when you're a child here, you kind of grow up and you kind of grow into a different person when you get older. But you're essentially the same, but there's a lot different about you. But you continue life in a higher level of awareness and awakening, but you continue on with life. So, let's just take this Charlie, for example. Did Charlie drop dead here? Or let's say before Charlie dropped dead here, could he tap into an Overself over there? And if he did, when he comes back here, before he's dead, can he go, I just met my Overself over there, in an out-of-body experience, and then he's back over here. Now, this isn't this doesn't feel right. This is not how it really works. But say, okay, so if that's not it, so Charlie did drop dead. Now, is he going to go over there and merge with his overself like this question is asking? Do you ask your higher self for guidance? Is the higher self that much smarter, or just one more level of awareness with limited info? Well, here's the question, or the thing. Charlie drops dead. He goes over there. Maybe he's an advanced soul, and he did a thing here on Earth, and now he's back in the afterlife realm, doing whatever he's doing, and he's evolved spiritually. But there's no, hello, Overself, I'm here, let's merge and be one. That didn't fucking happen. Now, we'll talk about why I get all pissed about it in a minute. But, okay, so now Robert Monroe, he goes out of body, he meets Charlie over there, and Charlie is a more advanced being. He's not meeting Charlie's fucking Overself. He's meeting Charlie. Charlie doesn't relate to that anymore, though. He's a bigger being. So you could, in that way, say, Charlie is, he's more like an Overself. No, Charlie's busy doing other things in a bigger, grander scale of life and experience beyond the physical. So there's not that, you don't have that Overself meeting thing that we're hearing stories about. We're going to do that. Yeah. So what the fuck is this about an Overself? Now, I'm not saying I have the answers. I have the questions, though, and the attitude.
Well, share it, please.
Yeah. You hear stories all the time. I've got a whole bookshelf full of books on out-of-body experiences and the afterlife and the between lives area where people have dropped dead. Now they're able to communicate with their loved ones or somebody on this side, and they're sharing the story of what it's like in the afterlife. I got quite a few books on the subject. I was really into this for a while, quite a long while. Nobody merged with a fucking Overself. What the fuck is this Overself thing? Are you saying there is no Overself? No, I didn't say there is no Overself. I didn't say that. But how do we fucking fix this so it makes sense from you've got spiritual teachings, people sharing bullshit with you, and some of it's good bullshit. Yeah. That's some good shit. And so that's just like fucking bullshit. You would sprinkle it on your grass. Because I can't use this to get spiritually better. This is not helping. But we're hearing stories about this Overself stuff. What the fuck is that? Now here's a whole nother approach to this whole Overself merging thing. Michael Sharp, he's got the Ascension Dossier thing going. So you can Google Michael Sharp Ascension Dossier. You can download his stuff. He's a really great spiritual teacher. He's got some great stuff. And one of the practices he has in there is the chakra meditation thing to light up your chakras and open the flows. And you hear these other stories like the chakras, get rid of those motherfuckers. And I go, well, what am I supposed to fucking do? I can't even see the motherfuckers. And I'm supposed to get fucking rid of them after I heard that I'm supposed to unblock them and like nurture and love and like light those fuckers up and get my Kundalini going. And then people say, I did my Kundalini thing and now I'm fucking crazy. And yeah, you look crazy. You sound crazy. You did your Kundalini thing? Yeah, you don't do it without a teacher. It'll drive you nuts. So you read that, and then other people go, no, my Kundalini awakened after I bumped my head into a tree riding my bicycle. The fuck? So anyway, Michael Sharp, Dossier, Ascension Dossier. Light these things up. You need a chance to talk here. What is this morning show shit? This is not a morning. This is Rich hogging the camera.
Talk it up, drink your coffee, relax.
Where's the producer of this show? I like this modality though, the morning show. Yeah, good luck.
I've heard it, when easier time talking if I'm close, so we don't talk it out.
Yeah, it's easier, it's more fun. I can blame it on her when it fucking bombs.
I'm used to it.
I knew I shouldn't have. fucking people, they tell me they like it. Whatever, would you do it yourself, Rich? You know, it's just anyway. Michael's chart, Ascension Dossier. You do the chakra work and the breath work. It's the Kundalini sort of energy stuff. That's powerful stuff, right? But the idea is to unblock the chakras so that your higher consciousness, that's where now we're back on track here. The higher consciousness can come in and be here. And the reason the higher consciousness or awareness, there's not you here, but it's a higher consciousness, the higher self, can now merge with you, come in and be with you, and you'll experience it as a greater awareness in the now. And this is the higher self coming to you. How nice. We don't have to go to it. You come to me. You want a meeting with me? You come to me. And then you experience that greater awakening. So you could say, you know, we're talking about this higher self like we know what the fuck that means, right? And do we really? I don't. What are you talking about for, Rich? Everybody else is talking about it. They don't know what the fuck it means either. Did you meet your higher self? Yeah, what did he say? Huh? Was it a boy or a girl? Man or woman? I thought they were androgynous. Prove it. Okay, so Michael Sharp, Ascension Dossier, energy work, clear chakras, and it allows the greater consciousness to come into this and merge with you and be here now, and you'll experience this wide awake awareness. It's great. And I'm not saying that won't happen. I'm just saying, it's like, what? So now the higher self is here with me, and now I have become the higher self. Now I am the higher self. Okay. And then let's go put that back on the shelf, and let's talk about Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle is the Be Here Now guy, and it's about the idea of becoming tapping into the one with God, at one with God consciousness, the great awareness of all that is. It's all awareness in you and me and everybody on the planet. It's all one awareness, but the awareness has assumed points from which to be aware, like fractalize. It's like you take a diamond and you just like crush it splinters into dust, but each little particle is the diamond is the consciousness of God, you see, in this metaphor. And it's going yeah. So the awareness, it's all the same awareness, but now it's assuming an identity. It is this one bit, one particle. And so we got all these humans, we've got trillions and trillions of beings in the multiverse, all points from which there is awareness of what is. And this awareness, when we do the Eckhart Tolle sort of, he didn't invent it, but he talks about it a lot. You know, you do your meditation, or you do your work to stop thinking, quiet the mind, because we have identified with our mind and our thinking. And we think we are the person we are, but the person we are, we only think we are that, and we're identifying with thoughts, thought form, and the ego self sort of thing. So when you can practice and stop doing that, you stop thinking, you start becoming more aware. Now you're getting this greater and greater awareness, and there's background noise, sort of like static thinking. It's deep, but it's still you thinking, or me thinking. But the more you practice quiet mind and be here now, the more this background static stuff goes away, and your attention has to be on that background static stuff, and on some level the awareness has to be thinking for it to be there. So when you can stop thinking well enough to even stop thinking that background noise stuff, all of a sudden there's all this free awareness, free consciousness, and that you can use to focus, and you expand your awareness and consciousness. And there are people on this planet right now who have they've turned it off completely, and that awareness has gone, and they like tapped into that God consciousness, and they just know it all, feel it all, see it all, and they're like, they become every tree, every particle. I don't know how I hear the words, and I believe you, but to grasp it without experiencing it is like amazing. So Eckhart Tolle style, be here now, be, who's the Overself now, bitch? It's like I love my sense. I'm so funny. I make myself laugh. Yeah. Okay, enough about me. Let's talk about Vila's, what she thinks about me. No, what are your thoughts about Overself and stuff?
Well, to continue from where you were talking, a lot of people talk about the godlike consciousness, and that there's also the names for the zone, the flow, being all and nothing at once. I think people are talking about the same phenomena with different titles, but it depends from the way they experience it and see it. And the thing is, it's not something that we get channeled into us and now we're like something bigger and stuff. It's not like something we go out and like we meet someone. I think it happens all that internally, like our consciousness and who we are for real. And a lot of people, like when they're working on themselves, like for example, in lots of variations in life, people get into these situations where they have to do something or they'll die, and that's exactly when they tap into that of who they are for real, and they can use a percent, the brain for 100% or 100 and more. They can use their body for like a full percentage. Well, right now, like scientists say, people use only 10% of their brain, but that's dumb to say because we're smarter than that. So okay, 30%, but still we don't use our full potential. And some people, you take Joe Dispenza. He was hit by a truck, and he was he couldn't walk. He broke his spine, and for 9 months he rejected the surgery because he would not be able to walk anyways. So he lay in his bed for 9 months. He was working with his thoughts and mind to visualize the process of his spine healing up. What he was able to do is after 9 months of that work, after he took the control and mastered it, now he's able to stand up, to start walking, to start jogging, to go into marathons again, and now he's teaching others how to do it. And people who have tumor, who have cancer, who are deaf, who don't see well, they go into his seminar and they're able to tap into their full potential of who they are for real, and they themselves are able to cure themselves. So having that in mind, having the people who get into situations where they're about to die and they're able to lift up the car. There are cases where tons of people are able to survive and do what they've never done before, just because at that point they've tapped into that full potential. And I think it's inside us. We're just not aware of it. We don't need to connect to anything superficial. We don't need to get it and all that, but it's in us, and we're most likely to tap into when it's like life or death situation, because that's where you fly or you die, kind of So that's where people get it naturally. And if we're able to teach ourselves how to do it, take control of our mind, quiet the mind, work on ourselves, work spiritually, that's where we can get that full connection and get in that place. Because a lot of people oh, I got in that zone, or I got the flow, and now they get super creative, and now they write these huge scripts, scenarios, and different things, and they're able to do what they've never done before. But that's something we can always have. We just need to teach ourselves to do that. So it's nothing you need to get everybody and tap into this God being your higher self and stuff. I think it's inside us.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
Okay. Yeah. Well, some more about the higher self thing. It's more like we have other selves, the other aspects of self. There's another me here and another me there and there and there and there. And there are alternate worlds, parallel universes, all kinds of ways that you can imagine and think it. But I call it another me instead of another you. Yeah. Because of the relationship of the family tree, so to speak. There's a me. Let's say a million years ago or something, there was a me in another dimensional plane, and it's this consciousness that's here, and the memory that I have here, I have that million years ago, and in that, let's say, move me back to a million years ago, and I'm in this place. Now, I have a memory of millions or billions of years of experience in the physical universe and all the multiverse, if I can tap into my memories of it, my awareness of it. But it's my experience. It's me. So a million years go by, and let's say I split myself into 2 or 3 more points of view. Now, you could say because I was here and then I split myself into these 3 different points of view, and they all run off and they're not the same person anymore. I mean, we have the same heritage spiritually, and so these 3 aspects of myself, and I am one of those 3, and I have 2 others. Well, would this be my overself? Or would this be who I was before I am who I am now? Or it's same old, because with the consciousness that I am, here now, I can tap into the consciousness, because it's the same consciousness, and have all that memory. So is that another self? And would that, let's say that other self is off running around in another universe doing some fun things. And does that overself give a shit about what I'm doing right now? It's probably busy. It's probably not thinking about me. And this underself, me, right here, go, I want to connect with my overself. This overself could be quite fucking, it's like whatever. It doesn't matter. Because when I connect with that overself, the experience will, this is my extrapolation or logic, that self would be aware of, oh yeah, I remember, oh, I'm back, I've come back, and so I have this more of an awareness and more experience. But now it's just memory shit, It's like, you did that for a million years, I was overdoing this a million years, you got a million years worth of memory, who gives a fuck? We all have billions of years of memory. Does it really matter? Not if you ask Eckhart Tolle. Be here now. Fuck the past. Fuck the future. It's here now. And so overself up here, me here, I merge with higher self, overself. And it's like, all that matters is here now. And I'm here now, and if I merge with this overself, am I here merging with overself? That would mean this overself that was over here was busy like, oh, I don't know, running, commander of a space fleet. It's everybody's fucking dream, right? I was commander of a space fleet. Yeah, well, you got, well, never mind. Don't go there right now. But yeah, commander of a space fleet. Well, I was president of a planet. Oh, you were? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was a hermit in a cave. Fuck yeah. Anyway. Other self, you merge. So what? Does that other self that's doing that thing in this other realm stop everything? Oh, I'm sorry. My underself did a spiritual thing and wanted to merge with me. I have to go now. That's not, is it? That can't be how it happens, is it? I don't think so. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If I say it louder or again, you think it will help?
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. How could it? It doesn't make sense. So merging with the overself is not that. But being here now, having a greater awareness, a deeper knowing, tapping into the knowing of all that is. Now, I would know what my other self over there is doing, and it's like, so. And if I want to like have an out-of-body experience and go, and I'm off, and I merge with this other self, I'm just tapping in. The awareness that I am here taps into the awareness that I am there, and it becomes all one awareness. That it's not another person that I'm aware of there. It's like, oh, look what I've been doing. Oh, and you have the memory of the past. You have your current, your now motive, purpose, objectives, goals. Whatever you're focused on, you're busy, you're enjoying it, or you're not liking it, doesn't matter, but there you are. And it's like, over here, this body's like, now you go, okay, this is my out-of-body experience. I'm with this other me. Bye now. And the self that's there is like, whatever. And I come back here and I go, oh, wow. Did I merge with my overself? It's wordplay. It's not wordplay. It's we don't have really the words for it, and I think there's a little bit of a false teaching. Now, I don't know what the right teaching is, and I'm not saying my teachings are right. I'm the guy that likes to question this stuff, and I just have a little bit of an attitude sometimes about this whole overself. I mean, we got all these fucking overself, higher self, oversoul, and there's one more, inner self and divine. Fucking please. To wrap it up, on my side anyway, yeah, I'm sure you might have something to say about this, but the consciousness and the awareness that's here now, what were we talking about? Am I kidding? Sure, you're kidding. No, but the way it has to work is you got to practice quieting the mind and the be here now and expand the awareness from here. That's one way. That's the awake way. The other asleep, snooze way is practice getting out of body. The body falls asleep. It goes into snooze mode and you stay awake spiritually. Now, you have the perspective, the point of view, you are here. The I am that I am here with this experience here. But now I can go off into the multiverse and I can just do wonderful adventures of one kind or another, or I can merge with another aspect of myself and I will know it. But I could just as easily merge with another aspect of somebody else's self. And now I'm the entity in somebody else's world, and I'm having thoughts in their realm, in their head, and now they're off doing something different than what they were doing a moment ago, and they're having different emotions and feelings about it. And it's me playing the puppet master, the Archon. Now I'm the Archon? How the fuck did that happen? I didn't mean to be. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But we can do that. We can merge with other beings in other realms. And they, depending on our own intentions and their awareness, we can merge with them and they won't even know it. Because their awareness is my awareness. And awareness is awareness. And all of a sudden they become aware of another life in some other realm. Now it's me in the earth plane. And they go, but now if I'm the stronger intention, I can have them, quacking like a duck on a stage for a hypnosis show or something. And I'm having fun with that person or that being. That would make me the Lord or the master of them, and the puppet master, so to speak. And I would be Archon. But am I parasitic? Do I just, I want to stay here and live here now, fuck this plane and this life, and because I'm having so much fun fucking with people? It takes a certain kind of entity, beingness, to enjoy that psychopathic, sociopath sort of personality thing, fucking with people. Yeah. So, and that ain't me. I hope you ever look at yourself in the mirror. Am I a psychopath? Because sometimes I wonder. Anyway, yeah. So, tuck myself in a corner. Now what? Help! Can you bail me out of here?
Poor thing. Take it easy.
Died on his own spit. Drowned on us. Oh, you know what? I can't see the camera. I can't see my face. Don't. I don't want to see. No, don't. And so I'm kind of a different personality here on the camera. I don't know how this is going to go over. People unsubscribe. Who is this guy? Anyway, hi.
You okay?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
May I ask you a few questions about this merging? Have you ever had an out-of-body experience where you like merge with another aspect of yourself?
Yeah, for me it happens quite often, and you know, I don't want to like cover so much like you did, but like, you know, a little bit at a time. When I go out of body, or even I think that when people die, and since I've seen people pass away and meeting them right after there, you don't just get smarter. No one dies and gets like smarter all of a sudden they know everything. No, like they're still where they were, and they continue the adventure, you know, and they can merge with their other bodies and beings that they have, because we as consciousness like to split a lot, and in this life it happens that like we ourselves can split on like consciously, like you can live in like all of a sudden you say that you don't need a part of yourself anymore, like, oh yeah, I don't like being that thing, no, and not anymore, and you like put like from now on I'll be like this, so you say goodbye to that part of yourself, like your personality, and that's the part of your consciousness, so it leaves, and that part of consciousness can have one part or split into a million parts, like be a whole like different thing, and with that, those part of consciousness can also incarnate to different bodies and assume the body and just live their life and have no connection to me, except like, you know, oh, at one time, long ago, I was connected with her fella, like, and I was later, like, her personality, her consciousness, but she didn't need me, and here I am, and so that happens. Then we have people in our lives who are like, you know, who we can get in arguments with, we don't like agree on certain things, and we get afraid of them, and all of a sudden they're trying to control us, and like, oh, I was bad, I'm sorry, like, never again, and like all of a sudden we change for others in certain ways, like kids especially, because like they're sort of still learning how to live here on this planet, especially after like 7 years old, because they're in theta frequency, and still like trying to adjust and learn about it. And parents, like, you know, they're gonna teach their kids about everything, and they can install like really bad programs. So all of a sudden kids lose part of their real personalities, real aspects of themselves, the part of the consciousness, and those parts can leave and also split in gazillions of pieces and then create into different bodies. And then we have entities who love to cling to us, and a lot of times I notice that these entities will be close to us and try to trigger us in lots of ways, just try to bait us in any kind of situation, and then we get triggered and then we react. But what happens, the entity that's like caused it all is taking our little bits of consciousness one by one. Not everything, not the whole personality, but one little bit at a time. And you can imagine having 1 billion pieces, like making one personality, and the entity will basically take one by one so that you would not notice it. But over time,
it's kind of like this nanobot things, these micro nanobots, they gather together and they form into a person. You've seen the science fiction shows, right? Now it looks like a person.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And you know, part of you can be creative, part of you can be a great singer, dancer, engaged in life. You might have a great passion, and then you get triggered by life, and you take the bait, you get triggered, you react to it, and something happens, but all of a sudden you're not as creative as you used to be. You cannot write anymore, you cannot sing anymore, you don't have it, the passion is gone. But it wasn't you that like, oh no, never again. Like, you love it, that was part of you. But that entity will take it one little bit at a time until it gathers up a great amount and it's out. And you don't have that big passion that you've had before. And these entities, like, you know, they can kidnap part of you, or they can like try to like take them away and like, you know, steal this and put it somewhere else, so that you as a consciousness would be lesser over here, more limited, more into this material life, more like, you know, suppressed, and eventually we end up like being pretty fucked up. We're like, oh, my life is not good, and like we complain about stuff, and we're like, you know, back when I was a kid, and you remember all those things that you were and you wish you would have it now, but it's really hard tapping into it. So when that happens, for example, get out of body. And when I get out of body, it's easy for me to get out and connect to one of those bits of consciousness that incarnated. So now
one of your own?
Yes, yes. So I can like I have millions of bodies out there, millions of pieces that got split and incarnated, and also split into tons. Like, you know, I can have one that goes away, and that one can split into thousands more, and it's still all me eventually. It's just like seems like a lesser part, but it's still me. So at some point, like, I can connect to that body and have all the memories, have the consciousness, we can connect, and it's as if it's two beings at once. Like, I can talk to that part, or we can merge and be one, and like we think as one and stuff. And during that whole experience, I can talk to it like, hey, I remember this part of you, like you're me, and like we connect. And then I can invite them like back, like, hey, I'm sorry, like maybe it was my fault, maybe I was the one pushing them away, and I'm like, hey, I still need you, I'm sorry, like, and I can do Ho'oponopono technique, and I can get them back. So now when I wake up out of the out-of-body experience, all of a sudden, part of my personality starts changing. I might have this new experience and this new beingness of who I am, and that's who I was in the past, except now that I lost it, I finally got it back, and it's just a point of like, how much can you get back?
It's kind of this is like soul retrieval or
exactly.
soul fragment retrieval.
Yes.
And you do that on yourself?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay. And you can do that on other people too.
Yes. And for myself, like when we do Soul Fragmnets method, like I'm starting myself to change up the commands and technique because it's not working anymore. We work on some steps, removing and then getting back and removing and getting back and removing and getting back. I'm like, I'm gonna remove everything and then I'm gonna get back everything.
Okay.
Because there's like I think it's step 7 when we call back our life essence, our energy, our like missing soul aspects and fragments. And I'm like, it's gonna be step 13. And I'm gonna move everything into the getting out, like removing all agreements, entities, and everything else. And once I'm done with everything that I can remove, and once I clean it out, then only then I will get all of them, like my energy, my soul essence, my fragments. And for me, it's easier and it's better. But at the same time, I know that I can return more of those aspects of me. And in various sessions, like when I was doing the past life regression work, like recalling of who I was in the past, or even like right now, I focus like, maybe I had a like huge loving side of me, but because of what happened in life and being hurt again and again and again, I rejected it and like tried to adjust to life, and now I don't have it anymore. Like I don't feel that love like I used to feel. I feel like way different. So now I work with myself to call it back, and I can have a conversation with that part of me. It's still me, and we're like, I can have a conversation, invite them back, make sure that they're safe here, make sure that I can do something to keep them here, and eventually that Overself, HigherSelf, it's all us, it's all us. Like, it seems like right now it's a bigger consciousness here, the part that got separated is a smaller consciousness. It's still us, same thing. We just like seems like we're bigger here, and there's might be even something bigger over there. Of course, you split from something as well, so you can connect to that part. And for me, it's all about connecting everything. Everything that I've lost, I want to connect it back and become like one, because it's just me eventually. And all those memories that everybody has, everybody, I meaning me that got incarnated, like part of me that got incarnated into a body and lived a whole life, I want to merge it so that I would have their knowledge and experience and point of view. And everything they experiences back and then, like however long it was, I merge it back, and now I have their knowledge and everything they've been through. So for me, it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, we can look at this whole concept of overself with this, the original question, is the higher self much smarter or just one more level of awareness with limited info? Well, when you are connecting with another aspect of yourself or soul fragment, if it's a bit of you and it left you, it could consider that you are its overself.
Yeah.
But it's off being its thing. Now, it could be running around in a realm or world, living a life with a limited awareness, and it may or may not want to connect with its higher self, you. And you, as its higher self, may or may not be interested in or looking at the fact that you have underselves that may or may not want to merge with you and be with you. So if we look at it from this model or this different perspectives, we could say right now that in this way I have an overself, and it's off doing something, and it may or may not be interested in helping me awaken and be part of it. But if it did, it'd be like another powerful enlightened being that is my overself. Is it watching over me? Probably not. If I'm not watching over my underselves like a fucking ant farm. Get a little wire and dig a little hole here. This will help. Oh, he's trapped. Oh, poor thing. No, it's more like, let's drop a fucking couple of termites in there and see what happens. What the fuck are you doing? It's my ant farm. I can do what I want. If you can imagine Overself, It's got all these billions of fucking underselves. Archon! Now I'm the Lord and Master over all of this. And am I feeding off the ants? Am I putting them through challenges and pouring water here and heat over here in my microscope, toasting their buddies, you know, and trashing their anthill and watching them all run around? What am I getting out of that? I'm getting entertainment, you know. If I were to get entertainment out of an ant farm and being that way, it's the higher self, or that being that is overlording the smaller aspects of life and consciousness. I'm getting something from that. I'm getting entertainment out of that. I'm getting some kind of a weird psychopath fucking joy out of watching things suffer. You know, it's the same sort of thing, but you could, you know, maybe you get your joy out of seeing things thrive and do better, and you're doing the best. So you're all knowing about your little ants here, and you know that you want to evolve these. You're like, you know, you're a mad scientist with your white coat, you know, and you go, oh, let's see, I want these ants to evolve. I want them to be all they can be. So now then you punish the ants and you fuck up the ants and you starve the ants and you freeze the ants and you do all these terrible things because you want the ants to be all they can be. And so are you doing something for the ants? Not that ant. Not this ant here. But no, the entire, you know, species of humans. I mean ants. Yeah, ants. Because we wouldn't do that with humans. Right. So now we get the, you enter the idea of bad big beings doing bad terrible things to us for a good reason. Well, just put yourself in the lab coat with your fucking ant farm or your bunch of mice in there. And you're not doing it because you like to be cruel to mice. You want the mice to thrive and you want the mice to take over the world. You want to be the master of the mice that take over the world. So you're the master archon of mice, but you're doing it for the species of mice. You want the mice to be all they can be. But you do terrible things to the mice in the lab. Are we a lab? Is Earth a lab? I mean, it can be anything you imagine it might be, you know, whatever you think it is for yourself, it is. But I find this particular question about Overself very fascinating and worthwhile to discuss. I feel like I took all the marbles and threw them over the playground. Where are we now? We're scattered all over the place.
I think like the great thing to remind ourselves, like, you know, there are like tons of people talking about a subject, and a lot of them think they know everything, and a lot of things they say like, is this their truth and stuff? Mm-hmm. And I think for us, we question that. We try to share our beliefs, but it's not like we know everything. Like, it's one of the possibilities, so everyone can find whatever like it fits with them. Like, everything that the information that we share, they can connect with it or not. Like, it doesn't have to be like we know everything and believe us, you know. Like,
right? Yeah. So. Yeah, I like laying it out on the table and discussing it. You know, questioning some of these New Age beliefs in an effort to, you know, bring greater personal awareness and understanding to life. So yeah. What's up? You still here? What are you still doing here? We're just talking here. Hey, thanks for watching our stuff. This was our morning show for the day. And we'll be doing more morning shows. Yeah. Do you like doing these morning shows?
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
So, for those who are watching, share your thoughts on the subject, and also, since we're going to be doing more of these, please share your comments, your questions, because we can discuss it, and, you know, you are the ones inspiring us to talk about various subjects, so anything you're interested in, drop in the comments below, and we're going to talk about it. Yeah, and thanks again, Mr. Mojo Risen, for your great questions. We didn't even get to the second half. How reliable is that part of your self to receive guidance from? Oh, there's another hour. Okay. Maybe next time. Maybe not. Okay. Thank you for watching, and we will see you later, okay? Bye-bye now.